Hey guys, it's Kudo, and I wanted to discuss a little bit of what was new about Scrapbook Expo this year and a little bit like newer experiences. So a little bit of the volunteer as well, but I'm not going to go in depth in that because I already did a video about the process on how to sign up for volunteer and what it's like. So if you want to see that and you want to know more info on that, I will definitely put a link to that video in the description box. So let's get this started. I'm going to talk about the volunteer part first. So what was new for me this year is that I had to cover a lot of shifts. There was a lot of volunteers that didn't show up, which was very disappointing. And probably 3 to 5 shifts I had to cover, and I earned probably an extra $5. Well, actually, I did earn extra $5. Anyways, but a lot of the shifts I did have to cover was like within the shift that I signed up for. So yeah, and I definitely, because usually I do will call, and Marlene came up to me, who does all the volunteer scheduling and all that. She asked me if I wanted to be a teacher's assistant, which would be my first time doing at Scrapbook Expo. So I was like, yes, I'll do that. I have no problem. Whatever you ask me to do, whatever it is, I will do it. Because if you really need help, I will help you. So it was new for me, and I loved it. The first time was with Jennifer Lowe. Actually, I did it with her twice, but on Saturday it was her last class, and she is such a wonderful person. She is an instructor for Heartfelt Creations, and I helped her with 2 card making classes, and one of them was Under the Sea, and another one was like ones with birds on it. So she's a really sweet person, and I would definitely volunteer for her again, and she definitely wants me to do that next year for her, because actually in the last class that I helped her with, she made I forgot to show you this in the haul video, but I actually stayed an extra hour for her for free because she had a lot of stuff that she needed to organize and put away and all that for her, since it was the last day of Scrapbook Expo, and I really felt bad. I didn't want to leave her with all that work, so I was willing to stay with her for an extra hour after the expo ended, and she gave this to me for free. Excuse me. And this is a beautiful rose that the class that she was teaching, and it's included like the glitter, the pieces of paper, but I just need a stylus because for the texture and all that. So this is something I'm gonna do for like on a rainy day, or if I don't feel like doing Project Life or Traveler's Notebook. But yeah, like she's a wonderful person. She's sweet, and if she's at the Scrapbook Expo in your area and Marlene assigns you to her, definitely say yes. Like, she's just awesome, awesome, awesome. And I also had to be a teacher assistant for Dave, who was one of the managers for Scrapbook Expo, and he was doing a card swapping class. And it was my first time seeing the card swap thing. I'm like, yeah, I was curious like how that worked and all that. So if you don't know, there's probably about 20-25 people in there, and what they do is each person brings in 15 cards. It can be the same 15 cards, or it can be 15 different ones, but a lot of them brought in the same 15 because it's just a lot easier to do. Whew. I thought I was gonna burp. Sorry guys, every time I do this. But anyways, so yeah, I helped him out, and you know what, before I got to his class, Marlene was telling me he asked her for a really good assistant. And I was really nervous because I'm like, I hope I'm up to his standards. But he really loved me. He gave Marlene really good positive feedback about me. So I think he would love to have me again next year. So it was just a wonderful experience. And before I forget, more about the card swapping thing. So what they do is each person can discuss about different techniques, and what they do is they also judge on all their cards. So there's this like steel thing where you put your card in, and everyone goes around and looks, and then they put their ticket next to the one that they really like, and whoever has the most tickets gets a prize. And besides that prize, there's actually more prizes Dave gave out, and I would help him give the prizes out and so forth. That's what I did with Jennifer Lowe as well. I helped her give out prizes. I helped her showcase like the example, and she also showed me like the technique so I can help other people. So definitely, if you're gonna be assisting with a class, make sure you're paying attention to what's being taught, because you know, it's hard to, especially with that many people in one class and there's only one instructor, like, you know, try to help that instructor as much as possible, because they can't, you know, because there's such a short time limit, you know, per like section of each part of the card making. But anyways, that was my experience with the teacher assistant thing. It was wonderful. Definitely would not mind doing that again. So the shopping part, I didn't spend as much as I did last year. I didn't even get that much as I did last year. So I was a little bit disappointed that a lot of the booths still kept the original price, because I really wanted to get the newer stuff like Amitan on a Whim, Dear Lizzie, Lovely Day, Mackie Holmes, like all the newer stuff that came out this year from Creativation. And I'm just that kind of person that likes to save my money or get more for my buck, you know. So I was a little bit disappointed in that, but Echo Park had really great sales, and of course Islet Outlet always has great sales. And I mean, there was a few booths that had just great sales, but I really wanted to get the stuff that I really wanted to get for a while. And then Gaylord Palms, they changed their whole setup, and there was a lot more positive feedback compared to last year. And actually, I think there was a lot more people this year than last year, because I met a lot of first-timers when I was at Will Call. So I'm really glad that Scrapbook Expo in Orlando is really growing. So anyway, so Gaylord's changed the seats. They provided more seats, and let me tell you guys, there was a lot. Oh my gosh. Besides Scrapbook Expo, there was a cheerleading competition going on, and on Saturday, like, the first floor of the convention was full. Like, all the seats were like taken. So after my shift, I had to go upstairs and find a seat and rest my feet. Like, it was crazy. So I hope Scrapbook Expo picks a date where, you know, there's not a cheerleading competition happening at the same time, or just, you know, because another bad thing is the expo lost a little bit more space because the cheerleading competition needed more space. So the convention was just a little bit smaller. It was still pretty big, but they just lost a little bit more space. And then last year, there was a lot of complaints about the location of the classes. So a lot of the classes were outside last year. So this year, thankfully, they put all the classes upstairs, so no one has to go outside. And especially since I had to assist, it was really great that I can finally start memorizing the locations. And because last year I had a hard time telling people, like, oh, I'm not sure, this is my first time, blah blah blah. But this year, like, the more you volunteer, and especially if they're in the same location every year, the more you'll start knowing where everything is, and the more you feel like a really, really good volunteer. You know what you're talking about, and you're very confident in your answer. So that's what I love, was like, yeah, oh, okay, this is, because their rooms are, they named their rooms after Florida cities like Sarasota, Tampa, Osceola, like it. I was like, oh, okay, you know, so now I know what the location looks like, or the floor plan, what it looks like upstairs. So, yeah, another good thing is I met the Modest Cat. I did talk about that a little bit in the haul, but I really want to talk a little bit more since I still have like 2 more minutes, because I'm trying to make this like a 10-minute video. I almost missed her, because I was talking to a fellow volunteer, and if I had not turned and looked at her direction, because she was talking to one of the other volunteers, I would have missed her. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think I know who that is. So I made sure I walked really fast over there, and I was like, the Modest Cat, and she's like, yeah, you know, she knew who I was, Kudo Craftster. So we hugged and we chatted a little bit, and she was on her crutches, and I'm like, oh, I'm happy that she made it, because I was worried, because I didn't see her on Friday, and I'm like, oh, I hope I get to see her tomorrow maybe. So I was really happy, and I really wanted to help her out a lot, because she was on her crutches, because I thought she was gonna have a wheelchair. And but I was like, that's another thing about the going back on the volunteer thing. I'm definitely going to stick with like 3 shifts max. I did 4 shifts this year, 7 to 11 in the morning, and then 3 to 5 in the afternoon. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that next year. 3 shifts max. 2 on Friday, 1 on Saturday. So after my first shift, I can go like do whatever, because I didn't even have time to do videoing for you guys to do, because I wanted to do a better video for you guys on Scrapbook Expo, but oh my gosh, the volunteer thing was just crazy because I had to go back and forth just all over the place. So I really didn't have time. And I only did pretty much 1 hour shopping on the first day, and then the second day 30 minutes of shopping. So yeah, that's how much time that I didn't really have to myself. So yeah, back to the Modest Cat. She is such a sweet, wonderful girl, and or I should say woman, excuse me. Sorry, girl. But you know what I mean. She's a wonderful person. She's so kind, and I hope we get to like hang out a little bit more and talk a little bit more. Especially next year, she's thinking of volunteering as well. Cause oh, before I forget, I found out after you volunteer, you usually get a free admission, and I always thought you only use that within that year. And Marlene told me it's a forever free admission. You can use it any time. It could be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, any expo, forever. So I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so awesome. So definitely volunteer, get as many of those free admissions, because if you have scrappy friends that like to go to Scrapbook Expo, you can just give them to them. They can go in 2020 if they wanted to, and they can still use it. So yeah, that's, if I had known that last year, I wouldn't have thrown like, I think I received like 2 of them, and I think I used one in a PL, and then I threw the other one. So I don't remember what I did with them, but definitely I'm gonna be saving them now. So anyways, yeah, so check out her channel. She's awesome. She does planners, she does a little bit Traveler's Notebook, I believe, and then Project Life. So yeah, she's definitely wonderful, and I hope I get to see her again next year. So that's pretty much it for this video, and I hope you guys will be able to experience it yourself sometime this year or whatever. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.